Remembrance Day video by going here first and clicking make a video. Let's give a title to our video, so let's go here. This one, I think. Yeah, nice. Click it again and you can change the shape size to make it sort of tighter. But also my World War I's most interesting facts, I may well go to go back here and put an outline on that because you can't quite see it very well. So go to swatches, make a white one, and then the outline thickness, just bring that up ever so slightly. Now you can put an animation on this as well. I quite like the fade animation. If you click it again, you can increase or decrease the duration. A couple of seconds it seems okay. Give it a play. That looks pretty good to me. Next thing I'm going to do is going to add a scene. And here's where I'm going to go back to my page. So my first one is all about it was a global war. So let's copy that. And you'll see down the bottom of this page is that you have some really interesting things from the Imperial War Museum. If you give that a click, you can see that it's talking about it being the fighting happening on all fronts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click that. I'm going to copy the image, go back to my video, right click and paste that in. Now, if I size that up, it is going to leave some gaps at the side. So let me just make sure that's centered and then go to elements here and search for old paper. And I'll just use this as kind of like a background, I think. Click that, something like that. And then also I can set as page background here as well. Now that looks pretty cool to me. I like it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my text here. I'm going to copy it from my first scene, click on my second scene, and then I can right click anywhere on the side and paste that in. And then I'm just going to keep the consistency of the text and the outline and things like that. So this will be number one, it was a global war. And then I can change that there so that it goes onto 2 lines because it's still a dynamic text layout, don't forget. But then you can see that I've got this kind of sunburst shape. And maybe if I click that, I can change the shape filter maybe using my dropper tool and go down, select the red poppy just from the timeline there. That's really, really effective. I really like that. If I want to make it a bit more custom, I can lighten it up a little bit, which is good. Something like that. And also maybe this white outline around it was a global war might need a little bit of modifying. So let's go back and go to our outline and maybe either bring the outline thickness up or even change the color. I'll leave that to you to decide what you may or may not do. For here, I might put it as, yeah, something like that. Okay. Now I'm going to add a scene again. I'm looking for another background. My second fact is the human cost. Now there's a really good photo down here for the Imperial War Museum again. That one there. So I could copy that image, go back to my video, click on the side and right click and click paste. Again, select the image, set as page background. And now it's time to go to my text again. So I'll copy this, it was a global war. And then I'll paste that in there. And then obviously I'll exchange that for the new text, which is the human cost. Now here, the fact that the is really big here is because it's kind of deciding for us which words should go onto different lines. But you can force it to change by actually, if I put my cursor just by C of cost and then hit return, it will put the and human on the same line. And then I can reposition this so it's right in the center. And I think the colors still work on this. I think that works really well. But I could go down to the shape, for example, and I could increase the shape size so it just hits kind of like the edge of the image there as well, which looks pretty good. Now I've still got animation on there. You can see it's kind of fading in by kind of like a typewriter fade type thing, which is good. And then for my third example, then I can go back to my text again, and this is 3 women in World War I, and there is an excellent image down here. There's one here where they're making these bombs, and there's another one where they're making bullets. So choose which one works for you. I think I'll use this one, so I'll copy it. Again, paste it into your page, give it a click, and if you set as page background now, you might see that you're kind of chopping off some of these heads here. So click the reframe button on the left-hand side, and then you can pull that down, and then again, you go and get your get some text from another page, copy it, paste it in here, and then instead of the human cost, you want to replace that with women in World War I. That will have all the same animation as all the others as well. So you're keeping that consistency of style. Now that that's done, I'm going to go back to the start and I want to add some audio. So the first thing I'm going to say is just World War One's most interesting facts. So that's quite easy. So if I go to media and go to audio here and record voiceover, make sure I've got the right microphone selected, start recording. World War One's most interesting facts. Now that's perfect in terms of length. It finishes just before my clip does, which is great. And then for my second one, I'm going to go over, get my playhead and put it at the start of the second scene. Now, rather than saying it was a global war, I actually want to give some more detail here. So I'm going to go back to my challenge page and I'm going to read out this bit here. Now, if you want to cheat, you can copy that, go back to your page, add some text in, and you can just paste it in for now, just as a way to have it almost as like an auto prompt on the screen, so you can read off it without having to, go between your tabs, for example. So now that my text is in there, I'm going to make sure my playhead's back at the start. Go back to media, record voiceover. Over 30 nations declared war between 1914 and 1918. Now, what you'll have seen there is that my scene didn't go on long enough for me to be able to read that text. So actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stretch out this scene for quite a long time, so maybe like 15 seconds. And then I can go back, get my voiceover, delete that one because I need to do it again now, and then click my playhead at the start, record voiceover. Over 30 nations declared war between 1914 and 1918. Fighting occurred not only all over Europe, but also in Africa and the Middle East. Nice, and then all I need to do then is trim back my scene and then get rid of that text. And then I can do the same thing now for my next section, which is the human cost. Grab this piece of text here, make sure my playhead's at the start, add this text in so it becomes kind of like an auto prompt like they would have on like a newsreader would have, for example. If you need to change the color, you can do, change it to white, for example, and then you can actually see it. But then you might want to stretch out your scene again. So let's stretch that right out. Get your playhead back at the start, back to media. There we go. And then I can just trim this back, get rid of this text and bin it there. Okay, I'm going to presume that you can follow that steps for your final scene there. So what I'll show you next is how to put transitions between scenes. Just go in the middle between any of your scenes, click the plus, add a transition. Dissolve is a nice one, and a second is fine. You can play it there and see what it's like. Most interesting facts. And then it'll dissolve. Nice. If you click your transition again, you can then apply it to all scenes, which will mean that every single scene has the same transition. And last but not least, go to media, go to audio, and then search audio. And I'm looking for sad. Let's just go sad. And there's a really dramatic piano here. I like it. Okay, and then I'm going to click it, let it go in there. And then I can test to see what that is like by pressing my play button. World War I's most interesting facts. Over 30 nations. The one thing that I will do, I think, is bring down the audio of my, the volume of my audio track down to something like 30 to make sure it doesn't go over my voiceover. Nice background music, and that works perfectly. If you want to download your finished video, you can press the download button here. Normally I don't download them, but when I do, I'll download it at 720. That is plenty. And then when you're ready, you can click share. You can share it via Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, or create a view-only link.